I hope I'm audible. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Notes 2024. In this session, I will take you on an exciting journey of how cutting edge technology meets ancient wisdom, bringing the timeless epic of the Mahabharata to life through Gen AI. This presentation will show how advanced tools like GraphRAG and large language models can unlock new ways to explore, interact with, and understand the intricate world of the Mahabharata, the bridging millennia-old narratives with modern innovation. Before beginning, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Sid, and I take care of developer relations activities across Asia Pacific at Neo4j. I started my career with IBM as Java technology engineer, but soon turned my passion towards community building and DevRel into profession. And that's what I've been doing for more than a decade now. Worked with Google and two startups in the past, and I recently became a Google developer expert in Gen AI category. That's my LinkedIn profile QR code if you wish to connect with me later. All right, let's get started with introducing what is Mahabharata first. I'll try to break this down in a very simpler way for a global audience to understand. It's an ancient Indian epic, in fact, one of the longest stories in world literature about a fierce family rivalry between the Pandavas and Kauravas. These are like two set of brothers, cousins, basically, culminating in the epic Kurukshetra war. Through its complex characters and moral struggles, the Mahabharata explores universal themes of duty, justice, and resilience. And its centerpiece, the Bhagavad Gita, which is like a kind of sacred Bible for us, offers timeless wisdom on ethics and purpose, making this epic a source of inspiration and reflection for readers worldwide. Now, before I jump onto the actual project which I built, I just want to set some context. That Mahabharata is not only a story of war, but also a treasure trove of human experience, covering aspects of politics, ethics, and human psychology. And there are three reasons why I chose this subject specifically to work on. The first being, Mahabharata is an epic with deeply intricate narrative structure with 100,000 verses and over 1.8 million words. In fact, more than that, if I have to really put it in that way. Second, there are over 200 significant characters within the epic, including gods, humans, demons, sages, and animals. And of course, there are countless secondary figures. These significant characters span several generations and include well known figures such as the Pandavas, like Yudhishthira, Bhim, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, or the Kauravas, Duryodhan and his 99 brothers, and key figures like Krishna, Bhishma, Karna, Draupadi, and many more. And third, the Mahabharat's dense web of relationships adds depth and complexity to its narrative, offering profound insights into human nature, duty, and morality. This rich tapestry of interconnected characters and themes make it a timeless masterpiece. Now you must be wondering, like, what dense web of relationships I'm really talking about. Let's talk about this in detail. The relationships in Mahabharata are vast and intricate, covering hundreds of connections across familial, marital, and political bonds. Key relationship types includes like familial relationships, like father-son, siblings, cousins. Example, Pandavas and Kauravas are cousins, as I said earlier, and elders like Bhishma acting as grandparental figure. Or they could be marital alliances, like marriages for political alliance and family continuity. For example, Draupadi's marriage to all five Pandavas, the marriage of Arjuna to Subhadra and Ulupi. Or the third type of relationship could be a teacher and a student relationship, like relationships such as those between Drona and his disciples, or Krishna and Arjuna as mentor and protege. Or the fourth kind of relationship could be adversarial relationships, rivalries and enmities, particularly highlighted by the conflict between the Pandavas and Kauravas. Now, the Mahabharat's complexity comes from these characters and their interwoven relationships, which create a multi layered narrative that explores themes of duty, loyalty, power, and righteousness. Some modern representation or computational models like knowledge graphs map out these relationships, revealing the web of connections that share the epic's plot. But can't we do this with a relational database? Well, traditional relational databases, while powerful, often struggle with the depth and fluidity of connections inherent in narratives like Mahabharata. And that's where graph databases excel. Exactly here, with the nodes representing your characters, your edges depicting your relationships, everything is perfectly mirroring the narrative's intricate web. Now, since graph databases treat relationships as first class citizens, this is where graph technology shines. And specifically, why I chose Neo4j, of course, the leading graph database platform, as a natural choice for this project. Now, by leveraging graphs in Neo4j, I can explore the impact of lineage, analyze alliances, and uncover hidden connections, leading to a rich understanding of the epic and its characters. Okay, now I'm going to take you through the entire journey, which is divided into three steps or three parts. The first part of the journey is graphing the epic. How do I put it into graphical format? Now, with the power of graphs and Neo4j at our disposal, the first step was to construct the intricate web of relationships that defines Mahabharata. This involved several key steps. The first was assembling the data. This involved drawing upon various sources like character lists, family trees, and detailed descriptions from the epic itself. This data formed the foundation for a graph. While there's no definite source for this information, I primarily refer to a Quora article which talks about the family lineage in this epic since the time of the creation of the universe, and it felt like very affirmative. Second step is each character in Mahabharata became a node in a graph. So we populated these nodes with relevant information such as their name, gender, title, etc. And the third step after that is the real magic begins over here with defining the relationships between characters. So family bonds, alliances, rivalries. So I meticulously mapped these connections using edges in Neo4j. So relationships like daughter of, father of, A kill B, B kill C, etc., etc., were added in. And fourth was like putting everything together with nodes and edges in place. I had to painstakingly populate the graph with all the characters and the connections. This involved meticulous attention to detail because I have to ensure the accuracy of relationships are depicted as depicted in the epic should be depicted in Neo4j as well. Okay, now once a graph is populated with roughly 1,000 cipher statements, this is how my database looked like with 191% nodes and 579 relationships. As I said, there are roughly 200 primary characters, significant characters, but I chose just 191 of them. And then there are a bunch of secondary characters as well. The true power of graph database like Neo4j shines in scenarios like this. It excels at uncovering hidden relationships within the data, connections that might easily slip through the cracks with traditional databases. Imagine if I want to trace the link between two characters in Mahabharata. Neo4j will allow me to discover the shortest path between them. It can the most direct chain of relationships connecting with them like with remarkable ease, and that's what I wanted to do. Okay, well, that was the first step which I took, but that was not enough. I wanted to bring this epic to non-technical audience as well. Now, while Neo4j provides a powerful platform for storing and analyzing relationships, traditional cipher queries can be a hurdle for non-technical users. So deciphering the syntax and understanding the data model can be intimidating. But still, this limits accessibility and hinders the true potential of exploring the Mahabharata as well. For example, if I have to find out who are the parents of Lord Kashyapa, the query will be something like this, but then it's again very technical in nature and non-technical users might find it tough. So the natural choice was to convert it into like a nice chatbot, and this is where my chatbot comes in. Imagine a user simply just asking, who are Arjuna's closest allies? Or how is Draupadi related to Krishna? Or who killed Ghatotkacha, etc., etc. The chatbot, acting as an intermediary, would translate these natural language queries into efficient cipher statements behind the scenes and give you a nice response. So for version 1 of my chatbot, I used Google's Gemini API in Google AI Studio. This LLM acted as a bridge by translating user queries into nearly accurate cipher statements, enabling the chatbot to interact with the Neo4j graph seamlessly. Again, the journey doesn't end over here. I wanted to do more, and this was the final step. But again, this is not the end step that I'm aiming for. I have some more visions to it, which I'll talk about towards the end. Okay, what was the third step that I took? So let's take a moment first to appreciate the sheer scale and complexity of the Mahabharata. This epic is divided into 18 major sections or verses or parvas, as we call it in Hindi. each equivalent to around 200 pages. If you were to represent it as a PDF, so 18 PDFs in total, that's a massive amount of information that we're talking about with intricate stories, teachings, and a vast array of interconnected characters. Now, imagine the relationships between these 200 plus significant characters, like family ties, alliances, rivalries, mentorships, all creating a dense, multi-dimensional web of connections as seen here. This web isn't just about isolated characters, it's about understanding how each relationship adds layers to the story, shaping motives, decisions, and events. Now, this is where GraphRAG comes in. GraphRAG, or graph-based retrieval augmented generation. I'm not going to go into the depth of it. A lot of talks are happening already at Nodes around GraphRAG. In simpler terms, it's designed to handle precisely this kind of complex interlinked information. So by using a knowledge graph, it captures not just isolated facts, but relationships and context around each character and an event. In a GraphRAG powered chatbot, this knowledge graph structure enables it to provide nuanced answers based on relational context other than just static information. Now, with GraphRAG, the Mahabharata chatbot doesn't simply just pull the data, it taps into the rich network of relationships. It can answer questions that rely on understanding who's connected to whom and how those connections impact the storyline. This makes GraphRAG ideal for applications where the understanding, the why and how, is as crucial as the what. Okay, so while VectorRAG focuses more on semantic similarity and retrieval based on vector embeddings of these 18 PDFs in this case, with Neo4j, GraphRAG is all about leveraging connections, adding depth to our GenAI's responses, in addition to the vector similarity, of course. And that's exactly when LLM Graph Builder tool came to my rescue to achieve GraphRAG. I'm sure if you were there from the start, you might have listened to what Sudhi mentioned about LLM Graph Builder tool. This is a tool which I really use to build my knowledge graph out of the unstructured text. I'm going to cover it in a while quickly. Okay, Neo4j LLM Graph Builder is an online application for turning unstructured text into a knowledge graph. It provides a magical text to graph experience. It uses LLM models like OpenAI, Gemini, DeepBot, etc. to transform your PDFs, your documents, your images, your web pages, your YouTube video transcripts into a nice knowledge graph format. It turns them into a lexical graph of documents in chunks with embeddings, and also an entity graph with nodes and their relationships. And both of them are stored in your Neo4j database. You can, of course, configure the extraction schema and apply cleanup operations after the extraction, but I'm not going to go into the depth of how this tool works. The session is not for that. I'm going to put some links that you can later on refer to as well for this tool. Okay, so after inserting all the PDFs in the tool, I was able to seamlessly generate a knowledge graph from the unstructured text documents. This knowledge graph becomes the secret weapon for my drag-powered chatbot. When a user asks a question, the chatbot can tap into the retrieved snippets from RAG and consult this detailed knowledge graph to understand the relationships among characters, events, and locations. That lets the chatbot provide truly insightful and contextually rich responses, making your adventure with Mahabharata all the way more engaging. Now, after doing that, after inserting the PDFs, I got 500,000 plus nodes, 500,000 plus relationships as well. Sorry, 50,000 plus nodes and 500,000 plus relationships. Now, to elevate your Mahabharata journey even further, together with a friend of mine, I designed a sleek and user-friendly web app specifically for this chatbot. That's the link. If we have time, I'm going to do a demo, or you can just quickly go to this link and then play around with it. Of course, this is just version 1 of my GraphRAG chatbot, if I have to put it in that way. But yeah, moving on. If you want to explore this LLM Graph Builder tool further, head to this link and read more on the documentation that's provided over there. It's an open source project by Neo4j, so if you wish to contribute, please head to the following GitHub repo to raise issues or PRs, or even try and test it with local LLMs. Yes, you can do that as well with LLM Graph Builder tool. Okay, I'm almost time. So as I said, this is not the end of the road, and I wanted to continue this entire project further. This is just the beginning of my Mahabharata's chatbots Odyssey. I'm constantly seeking ways to improve and expand its capabilities. Here are some exciting possibilities on the horizon. For example, I want to integrate a variety of language models, large language models beyond just Gemini, to see how the responses are, if they get a better responses, or I can craft immersive narratives, explore diverse perspectives within Mahabharata. Or I want to make it this chatbot like a multilingual, which will open its door to a wider audience, fostering a global appreciation for the epic. Or I can probably imagine stepping into a virtual reality experience where you can engage directly with characters from the Mahabharata. This would allow users to explore characters' motivations, witness events from a first person perspective, and interact with the personalities of this ancient epic on a whole new level. Now, I invite you to be part of this exciting journey. Share your feedback, suggestions, and those burning Mahabharata questions that you have always wanted to be answered. Together, let's make this chatbot the ultimate source for exploring the timeless world of Mahabharata. If I go back and show you the chatbot link again, once you head over there, there's a GitHub repo link. Feel free to raise issues, feel free to send in some suggestions. There's a feedback form attached in the web app, so feel free to send in the feedback as well. I'm almost on time, so I'll just quickly wrap up with some of the resources. These are some resources for you to take back on learning more on GraphRAG, on GenAI, what's there in the GenAI world at Neo4j. And if you want to learn more on get yourself skilled on graph technologies, Graph Academy is a place to go. There's some amazing courses on not just Cypher and Neo4j, but also on Neo4j plus GenAI and how it works with GenAI together. That's it from my side. Thank you so much for listening to me. I wanted to keep it short. Again, reiterating that's my Twitter handle and my email ID as well if you wish to get connected, and enjoy the rest of the notes, rest of the day as well. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.